Welcome to C-Vine News. You're listening to The Truth with your host, Linda Forsythe, and the man with the coolest name in radio, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? So now, allow me to make a very special introduction here. When I told you guys that there was a hand group of people that were actually involved with the tribunals over in GITMO, Linda is one of them. Linda, could you introduce yourself?
Well, hello, Pimpy. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're so welcome. I can't tell you how excited I am about having you on here. I have been struggling with people on YouTube. I'm trying to figure out a polite way to word this. We see so many of these videos that are out there, and these people claiming that they have this intel and that this politician and that famous person has been sent to Gitmo, has been tried, has been executed. Have you ever heard of anything like this?
I've been struggling with this for years, Pimpy, and I've done multiple videos. I want to thank you for replaying one of them because of, I guess, one person coming out saying that there was a certain individual, I'm not even going to name names anymore, that was in Gitmo and it was ready to be hanged in the whole 9 yards. And I want to thank you for putting that out there. I've kind of come to the conclusion that we can only say so much that people just absolutely refuse to believe you. And that's okay. You know what? It's everyone's choice.
Yes.
I will continue to let people know what I have found out to be absolutely fake and what you have also. I deeply appreciate that. But I'm going to continue to focus and not have any more diversions and letting people know what's really going on with Gitmo and then provide absolute unequivocal proof that anybody who so desires to find out if it's true, they can find out themselves. I will point them exactly where to go and what to look at. They can look at transcripts. They can look at any type of rulings judges make. They can look at who is on trial, exactly what the situation is behind it. They can look at the calendar to know who is going to be on or who is going to have the various different trials happening, etc. So that's what I'm going to focus on.
Yes. So C-Vine, if you don't mind, I want people to be aware of this. C-Vine News Networks, you guys, just so you know, that's where Linda is. They have a lot of great articles over there. But also, in addition to that, on the video that I did, Linda pointed out, if you instead of listening to what everybody's saying about who was there, who was executed, you can literally go to the website and you can fact check what's being reported. It tells you. It goes back years. Is that right, Linda? The cases?
Well, yes, it's it's through the Office of Military Commissions, which is what deals with Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and the tribunals, and so on. So it is maintained by them. And I also have a phone number and an email address that I want to provide everybody. You pick up your phone and call this guy, or you can send an email if you don't want to just deal with going on to their website and looking things up and ask questions. You can actually find out that way, and it's a verifiable phone number, etc. So what C-Vine is, this is a grassroots project that was created for we the people who are all sick and tired of the misleading disinformation, not knowing what is true, not even beginning to learn, and bringing together individuals that have talents in their particular areas that we're all joining together in like a proverbial village, whichever. We have all sorts of private investigators, licensed private investigators. Some of them are retired, former police, we have former military, we have individuals in IT, We have individuals with all different types of areas, housewives, people, specialize in accounting, everything. We all join together and work on what it is that we have our area of expertise. And so the investigations come from individuals who are licensed investigators. If we find something that is very interesting and we want to know if it's credible, we have an entire team of volunteers. Nobody is getting paid. And they look into it and find the proof to go with it. We have all kinds of citizen journalists who have history of knowing how to write, or individuals that have actually been reporting news on mainstream media in the past that have come with us to some of our places to be able to prove or film the news as it's going on, like we did on January 6th in Washington, D.C. So these are the people that's working with us. I just wanted to say, I wanted to announce to the audience, because this is a foundation, it is a charitable trust, it is run by a board of trustees. Nobody will ever own Seavine. So we are run by trustees, a group of trustees, and we all keep each other honest. Now, this is something, Pimpy, I haven't even told you that final decision that was made, although I did discuss with you that I was looking into this possibility. I have spoken with Ron Forsythe in Guantanamo Bay, who is the head of basically all the news networks that come in there.
Yes.
To be able to do things. I told him about you, Pimpy, and what you were doing, because he's as frustrated as anybody about the stuff that's getting out there. And I talked to our board of trustees, and we all agree that we want to bring you on as one of the volunteers. And that means that you will be working with me and other individuals that have been approved, or just regular people that are coming together with a heart to make certain people know what is going on. And you'll be working with me, having to do with the information about tribunals, and you will have direct access, just like I do, to some individuals. So congratulations, Pimpy. That's not something we give to very many people.
Oh, I'm really honored by that. I appreciate that. I know we talked about it, and I think it's important that people get the truth, but not only about what's really going on in GITMO, but all these, I swear they saturate the entire YouTube sphere with, oh, this celebrity, that politician, and I'm like, there's no proof, you guys. There's none out there whatsoever. And I always end up somehow becoming a bad guy. Like I peed in somebody's Wheaties, and I'm like, why are you guys killing the messenger? The one thing about my channel I think people respect the most is I'm not going to sit there and blow smoke up the tuchus. I'm going to tell them the news, good, bad, or ugly. How they digest it is up to them. But when you hear these people out there say what they say, it starts to bring people to a certain place emotionally. And we know that on one other person's YouTube channel, one of his subscribers had committed suicide over things that were being said. I can tell you, I have personally walked a handful of people off the edge who feel like, there's no hope. Every time they're told on this date this is happening, or this person was arrested, but now you see them live, and then you're told they're clones. I'm like, oh my God, people, work with me. Stay grounded. We are all in the same boat. We all want the same thing. But you said something in that video that I did a reaction to that rings so true. We all want the same thing. We all want to see justice done. But my concern is I don't want people to want it so bad that you become vulnerable or receptive to fake news.
I wanted people to understand one thing. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to go over and over and over, this guy's lying, that guy's lying, whatever. Whatever we present is going to have proof for you to fact check. So if you have a problem with whatever we are putting out there, do your fact checking above and beyond us, or use what we show you we have and prove us wrong. Otherwise, anything else you say is conjecture.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what the danger is about what is happening? The real danger, Pimpy? Do you know what that is?
I mean, I have my idea, but go ahead and share.
We are being shown theater, something that you desperately want to interact, feel, think, believe, in order to keep the masses calm,
Yes.
to toss a dog a bone, so to speak, to keep them occupied. Look over there, not here. America, your house is burning down. What I am going to talk about is when we do anything that's going on in Guantanamo Bay or the tribunals or whatever, I am not just going to talk about the KSM et al. Tribunals, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed et al. Tribunals, which is 9/11. I'm going to take you beneath the scenes and let you see the inner workings, the actual inner mechanisms of what is making the machine function. And what you're going to see there is what's really going on and scary. We're going to keep this interview short, but I want to leave a thought for everybody to consider. We know 9/11 happened in 2001. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was actually finally arrested in 2003. It is now, what, August 2021?
Yes.
20 years later, 9/11, one of the most horrific terrorist things that have ever happened, has not even gone to trial.
Yeah, people would be surprised to find out that none of them have been to trial. Is that right?
Well, there's more to this.
Okay.
It has not gone to trial, nor will it be able to go to trial. I've explained this in the past videos because of shenanigans of what the CIA has done. And the very last tribunal that was done for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed happened in January 2020, a year and a half ago. Very last one, where the judge stated as a very last statement that he was going to throw the entire trial out of court because of shenanigans that the CIA was proven to have done. 2 weeks after that, Judge Cohen announced he was going to be quitting out of the blue because of concerns for his family. And 2 weeks after that, in March, is when they shut down GITMO for the most part, except for absolute essential people. And there have not been any tribunals since March of 2020. I can hear all the people screaming in the background, well, what about this? What about that? It's like, okay,
I was just going to say
whatever.
that.
Whatever. Just letting you know that the 9/11 trials, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, have not been going on since March 2020. There have been some things that have happened in the meantime that are just downright scary. Besides the fact that they continue to kick the can down the road. They were supposed to start up again in July last month, but they postponed it again. They were supposed to start up in September 6th, which is on the calendar if you go and look. And what has happened is the new COVID variant came out. A couple of the workers that were there in Guantanamo Bay got it, the Delta variant. Mm-hmm. And now, even though it has not been announced yet, you know what's going to happen.
They're going to kick the can down the road.
Okay, so here's the question I want you guys to consider. With something as absolutely important as 9/11 going on with the tribunals, which whether it is through the military or it's through federal court, the whole flipping system is broken. It's broken. It doesn't mean that the lawyers and the judges are not following rules and laws. It means that the rules and laws that have been put into place have created a system that easily can happen in all different circumstances. So if what is happening, let's say for the Arizona audits, or any number of different things that show irrefutable proof, what do you think is going to happen? There's going to be kicking the can down the road for years and years, getting nowhere, that you absolutely have to go through this process and so on. So something's got to break really soon.
For 20-something years over there, we don't want to see that happen here, where people just get so tired of waiting that they just give up. We want results, and we want results now. But telling people that certain individuals have already been tried and executed and to sit back, eat popcorn because it's a movie, that's not what the hell I want people to think. If you're not actively involved, or you think the bad guys have already been taken out, then people, in my opinion, are going to become complacent, and they're going to think there's nothing to worry about, and then they're going to allow the bad guys to continue doing what they're doing until they get to a point where they're in position of power, and they're damn near there now.
Yep, that's pretty much it. But there's a lot more to it that we can do. And that's why I want everyone to join this movement. Everybody is their own individual that's a volunteer with Seavine. You still maintain your own business, who you are, your own identity. If you want to do your own shows, whatever it is that you do, Pimpy is still going to be Pimpy and have all his different channels, but he's just a volunteer, all working together for one common cause. We need more volunteers just like you. You have a problem with what's going on? Volunteer. We'll put you in a position that you can do something about it where your particular area of expertise lays.
Welcome back to Seavine News. This is Pimpy's reaction. So usually what happens is if there's something really important in the news, we do is call it a reaction video. The cool thing about being on radio is you still can follow along. I'm going to go over and we're going to critique what is being said during this interview with Joe Biden and George Stephanopoulos. Yeah, I think that's how you say his name. But again, it's just, I think a lot of people, including the liberal media, were really blown away by this interview and what Biden had to say. It was beyond obvious that he was lying the whole time. But let's go over this and critique it as we go along.
Back in July, you said a Taliban takeover was highly unlikely. Was the intelligence wrong, or did you downplay it?
There was no consensus. If you go back and look at the intelligence reports, they said that it was more likely to be sometime by the end of the year.
Okay, so they came out and did their own news conference after this. So you guys are aware. The Pentagon, the brass, they came out right after this interview and said, no, it was leadership, not us. Biden was informed. Leadership botched this. They're talking about Biden. So it's very interesting to see the brass come out and talk against Biden. In addition to that, it was very curious and interesting to see the actual media also turn on Biden. Very interesting.
You didn't put a timeline out when you said it was highly unlikely. You just said flat out it's highly unlikely the Taliban would take over.
Yeah. Well, the question was whether or not the idea that the Taliban would take over was premised on the notion that somehow the 300,000 troops we had trained and equipped was going to just collapse. They were going to give up. I don't think anybody anticipated that.
Oh, no, I did. You can go back to my old videos, and I told you as soon as Biden was declared the winner, I went ahead and said it right out loud in front of everybody on the video that one of the things we would see is definitely the fall over there in the Middle East of Afghanistan, because Taliban was already making her move way back then. A lot of countries, a lot of terrorist groups feeling very good and positive about this administration coming into office. They made their move. They knew. So if you look at how is it that 300,000 troops, they're armed, they're trained, they were funded. 300,000 troops, all of a sudden within 11 days, surrendered all of the equipment, all the vehicles, all the missiles, all of the weapons that we have supplied to them. How is it that they just walked away? They literally left everything behind and walked away, and the president left. Now, the more you think about this, or the more I think about this, you go, it's impossible. How? How is this even possible unless it was planned? You can say whatever you want about it, but the fact that you have 300,000 troops and there's less than, 11,000 Taliban, and you couldn't beat them, even if the Taliban reached out to ISIS and Al Qaeda and everybody else, there were still 300,000 Afghan troops, and they could not beat these people? Who are you trying to fool? This looked planned. It looked unbelievably planned.
Senator McConnell said it was predictable the Taliban was going to take over.
Well, by the end of the year, it said that that was a real possibility. But no one said it was going to take over then when it was being asked.
When you look at what's happening,
Does it matter when? He says it don't matter, but does it? If you're sitting here going, wow, you know, you knew it was going to happen. Does it make a difference when you thought it was going to happen? Seriously, the lives of the Afghan people, you just flipped upside down. We will talk about a video that was given to us that's pretty disturbing. You're going to hear a lady come out and make a prediction. And I absolutely believe what she's saying. Absolutely. Because I said the same thing.
happened over the last week? Was it a failure of intelligence, planning, execution, or judgment?
Look, I don't think it was a fair. Look, it was a simple choice, George. When the Taliban, let me put it another way. When you had the government of Afghanistan, the leader of that government getting in a plane and taking off and going to another country, when you saw the significant collapse of the Afghan troops we had trained, up to 300,000 of them, just leaving their equipment and taking off. That was, you know, I'm not, that's what happened.
No, there is no just that's what happened. 300,000 troops and the president of the country just got up and left. Let that mull in, whether you think this is a conspiracy or whatever you want to. I want you to think about this. So it's no longer about Republican versus Democrat, left versus right. That's not what's going on. We have good versus evil. And it's time for some of you people to stop treating politics like a sport. This isn't about I want my team to win no matter what, and when you lose, pout about it. No. What's happening in Afghanistan affects the entire world. Because now they have an entire country, terrorists do, in which they can go and train and gather and increase their numbers. They're armed. They got weapons, including drones now. That affects the Middle East area. Trump's very strict about what he does. And there's no doubt that had he struck a deal, as long as he was in office, he'd have made sure that they follow through with it, or else. But they're going, well, that's Trump's fault. He made the deal. No, there was no deal struck. Because when everybody found out that Taliban was there, the media made a big issue about it, and they left before the deal was finalized. 20 years there. We could not remove these people or end what was going on. Unbelievable. 3 years under Obama, we had ISIS running around, getting larger in numbers. Trump was in office, and when he finally went after ISIS, and they had a caliphate, they were wiped out in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. People don't know this, and it's a sad, because the media doesn't tell you about this, but it's a sad situation. How many terrorist leaders are you aware of that Trump killed? 9. 9 of them, including Osama bin Laden's son, Baghdadi, Soleimani. There's 9 of them. At one time, I used to know all the names. 9 of them. 9 terrorist leaders. 9 of the biggest terrorist leaders, and the media never covered it. As a matter of fact, when he killed Soleimani and Baghdadi, the media called them holy men. Said they weren't terrorists. What the hell are we listening to with the media these days? If Trump did it, then it must be bad. Man, we got to get past this crap, because I don't care. If we have somebody in there in the office that's making sure that we are protected, trying to broker peace, he had the Abraham Accord, and they just crapped all over it. 7 months into this new administration, and the world is getting turned upside down. So stop sitting around going, well, they're Democrat, I'm Democrat, rubble. This is not what that's about, people. This administration is just destroying this country and destroying the rest of the world along with it.
That's simply what happened. So the question was, in the beginning, the threshold question was, Do we commit to leave within the time frame was set? We extended it to September 1st. Or do we put significantly more troops in? I hear people say, well, you had 2,500 folks in there and nothing was happening. You know, there wasn't any war. But guess what? The fact was that the reason it wasn't happening is the last president negotiated a year earlier that he'd be out by May 1st and that in return there'd be no attack on American forces. That's what was done. That's why nothing was happening.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. You notice how he just said it himself? Well, because the previous administration made this negotiation. They're trying really hard to spin this and point fingers at Trump. He never had a chance to finish those negotiations. But they're going to go ahead and try to blame it on the bad orange man. Man, get over that, people. Look at the reality of things. 4 years under 45. 4 years. He did not initiate any war, and he brokered peace. And never, oh, by the way, is nominated 4 times for the Nobel Peace Prize. Of course, they weren't going to give it to him. There's a bigger agenda out there happening, and you guys need to wake the hell up on this.
But the idea, if I had said, I had a simple choice. If I had said, we're going to stay, then we better be prepared to put a whole hell of a lot more troops in.
But your top military advisors warned against withdrawing on this timeline. They wanted you to keep about 2,500 troops.
No, they didn't. It was.
Yes, they did. They came out and did a news conference right after him, and they said, yeah, we did.
Split. That wasn't true. That wasn't true.
That is true.
They didn't tell you that they wanted troops to stay?
You can tell George Snuffleupagus is a Snuffleupagus. George Snuffleupagus is trying really hard to feed him and protect him. He's like, are you sure? Come, just change your mind now. Let me throw you these softballs. He can't even hit the softballs now. You guys got to set up T-ball now. That's when you stick the stick there and put the ball in front of him and let it hit. Because obviously, even when you're lobbing soft pitches to him, he still doesn't know how to hit it.
No, not in terms of whether we were going to get out in a time frame, all troops. They didn't argue against that.
So no one told your military advisors did not tell you, no,
again.
we should just keep 2,500 troops. It's been a stable situation for the last
He's
several
trying
years.
really hard to help
We can
him.
do that. We can continue to do that.
No one said that to me that I can recall. Look, George.
That you can recall. What are you talking about? This guy's mental capacity is deteriorated. That you can recall, he couldn't remember that a business partner that his son had from the Ukraine during a backdoor deal in which they were making money illegally off of, he couldn't remember that he met the guy. And then all of a sudden pictures of them golfing together popped up. So how can we trust Biden's memory on anything?
The reason why it's been stable for a year is because the last president said, we're leaving. And here's the deal I want to make with you, Taliban.
He said that in Iraq. He said, we're leaving, and they still try to missile them. And they shot rockets at the people. So what is he trying to say? The fact that he said we're leaving and they wanted to be peaceful? No. Everybody was afraid of Trump. Everybody. He had demonstrated several times that if you screw with anybody in the United States, there are consequences. It was a bad time to be a terrorist under the Trump administration, because if you were the leader of a terrorist group, you woke up dead.
We're agreeing to leave if you agree not to attack us between now and the time we leave on May the 1st. Less than 2 months after I was elected to office, I was sworn in, all of a sudden, I have a May 1 deadline. I got one of two choices.
See, here's the thing with what Biden's saying. He's like, May 1 deadline, May 1 deadline. Well, we're in July. We're in August. May was months ago. What's that agreement have to do with anything? And it wasn't finalized. The point is, the entire military in Afghanistan got up and left along with the president. They just got up and left everything behind. And within 11 days, a group of terrorists took over an entire country against an army of 300,000 people. Let that sink in. So even if you took all of ISIS that's remaining, all of the Taliban, all of Al-Qaeda, all of Hezbollah, and put them all together over there, they still should not be able to beat an army of 300,000 people. It absolutely looks planned. This is the kind of crap that only happens under a Biden administration. So it's hard not to get upset. And I know people are like, for a lot of people on the left, I get it. Obama is your savior. He's your messiah. Okay, I get that. No, get past that. Get past the color of their skins. Nobody cares. Get past all that rhetoric about, you're racist because get past all that. You guys, it's just a tool to keep you from having open discussions and open debate. That's why we have big tech censoring us. They don't want to debate. They don't want an open forum because then the rest of the masses would wake up to the truth. I'm not going to go ahead and do the rest of this video. That's just it for now. We got a lot more left to go over in the show. I'm going to bring Linda back, and then we're going to go ahead and close out the show. I appreciate you guys tuning in for Pimpy's Reaction. Hey, folks, just a quick reminder that back in 2008 and 9, a lot of people lost all of their retirement savings in their 401ks and IRAs because they did not own gold and silver. Yeah, that's right. Gold and silver protects you from a market crash. So do yourself a favor, protect your retirement by purchasing gold and silver. You can go to moneymetals.com, reach out to them, and they will help you set yourself up to protect you and your family from having to start all over from scratch. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they will send along with your order a free half ounce of silver. So folks, do yourself a favor, head on over to moneymetals.com and protect you and your family from a market crash, as well as inflation.
Hello, Patriots. This is Linda Forsythe, and I am reaching out to you. This is a call to action. All those who love their country and want to see some change, this is your chance to be able to do something. So I'm requesting that you please go to the cvine.com website. That's c-vine.com website every single day and keep on top of all the various different news stories that all our volunteers post for you every single day to keep you on top of the news. And then not only just watch and see what the news says, but do some fact checking. Make certain that everything is as it should be. Don't expect anybody to spoon feed to you the news. When you're there also, we request that you please sign up and become a member. The entire website is free of charge. There is not anything you need to pay to get to any part of this website or to interact with it. What we request is that you do a donation in becoming a member. It's a monthly member to be able to help with our expenses. Nobody gets paid. cvine.com, Cvine News Network, is a charitable trust. It is a foundation that was created for you, for we the people. And all of it is put together so we all can come together to give uncensored news and we know what is the truth. The other thing I request is you please go to the section where you can go ahead and sign up as a volunteer. Go ahead and donate your time. If you have an area of specialty, whether it's IT, whether it's videography, whether it's photography, whether it's editing, whether it's just research or helping with regular support, whether it's maybe being an admin on one of the social media networks, where we have quite a few members that are there to make certain everything stays on top, please just donate your time. So, and we also have one-time donations. But either way, also, we have just started the starting a radio show on AM 590, The Answer, and we are videotaping it besides being on the radio. I will be doing that with Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, Pimpy, and he's going to be my co-host. As you look here, I just wanted to point this out to you. We also have a section for military tribunals. Military tribunals, remember our volunteers, when the tribunals are going on, we send them, or even I go and watch them specifically, and we report on them, providing transcripts and so on. So hope to see you there. Keep in touch and sign up for our newsletter so I can write to you personally. And then also, heaven forbid, any of the social media goes down, then that might be an issue. At least we have a way to be able to keep in touch with you, to be able to keep close. So anyway, go out there, Patriots, stand strong, hold the line. Hold the line. We are almost there. Welcome back to C-Vine News, We the People. Right now, I have something very disturbing to share with you. This just came in. It is a video recording of a woman in Afghanistan who is absolutely terrified and very, very angry. She has a few words for President Biden's. Listen to what she says.
Biden, listen to me carefully. You destroyed not Afghanistan, but the world. Taliban are best friends with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. All they're going to do, use our land to build our resources, to build and to destroy the world. You right now, you are on vacation and our country was burning and bleeding to death while you're on vacation and you call yourself.
Okay, when I listened to that, when I watched that, the absolute gut-wrenching terror, the fear, the anger that was going on there, I got goosebumps and tears all at the same time.
Yeah, I just watching it right now, really my heart started beating kind of fast, and I just really feel sorry for the people in Afghanistan, but not just that. A lot of people know I'm Mother, so I do talk about Iraq a lot. And I've been, praying that these people over in Iraq find stability. But this isn't going to help Iraq's situation with Afghanistan now taken over by the Taliban. Again, it's like going back into, Biden, which is the Obama-Biden administration third term. The Middle East is, once again, it took less than, 7 months that he's been in office? Here we are, and the Middle East is already in toils all over again. And Taliban back in control, it's how much longer before they start using Afghanistan to terrorize the other nations? And then Iran join Afghanistan or the Taliban? Here's a question, Linda, let me get your input on this. Here's my question to you. In everything that's done with the now all of a sudden Russia we're getting oil from OPEC. Russia has taken over the oil line. We have China going in and taking over Taiwan. We have Iran now close to military grade uranium. We have Afghanistan turned over to the Taliban. We have our entire economy is crushed over here. We have people getting paid to stay home instead of go to work in such a short period of time. Is it possible that any one individual could be this incompetent to ruin it all this quick? Or does it to you appear to be a little planned in your opinion?
A little plan? I think it's a global collaboration between certain factions that have had this plan for a very, very long time.
Yes.
And this is just the beginning, and the end is not going to be pretty if we continue to sit on our butts and not do something. I am not talking about raising up. I'm not talking about any bloodshed. I'm talking about taking charge. I mean, think about it. We, the people, are in charge of our nation, but yet we are being ignored, and things are going forward in a unilateral decision and action without any type of approval of what is supposed to happen. And anything that is spoken out about, like this video, it's like, okay, that's a tearjerker, that's too bad, or gee, but nothing will be done.
No, it's we know there's a collaboration with the media to control the narrative, big tech to censor it all. And we know this, and Dr. Shiva exposed that. So what they want to do is control the narrative. And this is around the world. Just so people know, the same 5 or 6 companies that owned all of our media here in the United States control most all the media around the world. And it's the same with the tech giants, Facebook, Google, Twitter, all those accounts controlled by the same people. So it's really easy for them to silence anybody that speaks out against this agenda. They have the ability to do it. and then only allow the things they want you to see. That's really bad for our country. So yeah, I agree, Linda. We don't want bloodshed. But sometimes when I'm talking to my friends, I said, man, doesn't it almost feel like what else is left? Because if we're being silenced and censored and their narratives being shoved down our throat, what else is left, in your opinion?
It's a matter of, like I said, getting off our butts and making our voices heard.
Yes.
Making our voices heard. So I don't know. People that are a lot more adept at figuring stuff like this out is somebody that really should be speaking on this. But what we're doing right now doesn't seem to be doing much of anything. I personally think that certain people are waiting for us to take action. Again, not violent action, but to take action, to make certain that our voices are heard. Like what's going on with the audits. What is this continual pushing the can down the road? Yeah, we'll hear something at the end of the week. Or then there's this that we have to go through. And then there's that. Well, you know what? Like what we were talking about before, what was going on in Guantanamo Bay with the KSM et al. Tribunals, they've kicked the can down the road for 21 years, not only with appeals, but doing various different things, and they aren't even to trial yet. So what do you think's going to happen?
Well, here's the thing. I talk to people all around the world. I mean, literally, because I have a YouTube channel, and it's got a lot of subscribers, so a lot of them from around the world. And as I'm talking to them, we chat, and you start to realize that this thing absolutely is an agenda that's being pushed on the world. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The same thing that's happening here is happening there. Now, any of these leaders that step out of line, that don't follow the agenda, there was a lot of leaders that were voted into office by the people that would be considered Trump-like candidates. And it was interesting to me to see that their own media was attacking them the same way Trump was being attacked. He's xenophobic, homophobic, he's racist. All those leaders are being accused by the media of the same thing. And here's the other thing. They were also accused of collaborating with Russia. Yeah, the same thing that Trump went through, these other leaders went through. And somebody said, why do you suppose they chose Russia? Well, they're not going to choose China, because I do believe that these people are all bed partners with what's going on in the CCP. And the reason why they picked on Russia is, think with it what you will, but they just ended the Rothschild banking there. They just paid off all their debt and kicked out the so-called central banking there. So we know that in countries that don't have a central bank, especially a Rothschild bank, then all of a sudden we get regime change. So like I said, think of it what you will, but definitely I think that plays a big part of it. And this agenda is all part of that great reset. So yeah, it's a worldwide event, you guys. It's not just in one location. Everything that Linda was just talking about, the elections, the coronavirus. We got doctors that are losing their licenses, being thrown in jail without charges, some of them being killed because they're trying to speak out. And we're talking about the world's leading authority in biology, you name it.
It's not just happening in the U.S. Australia is a mess.
Oh, man.
And even in Europe and, everywhere, it may be a different scenario, but it's the same bottom line, typical agenda of what is happening. But let's talk about some good news here, what I consider good news.
All right.
We have finally gotten to the point here in California that we are going to be recalling Newsom.
Newsom is right. Well, look, I don't want to real quick. Let me mention something real quick. Not to pee in your Wheaties here. That's one of my sayings, by the way. But look, here's something that people in California should be upset about. So in case you haven't heard these new rule change, how very convenient for Gavin Newsom to do this, considering he's paying attention to the audits. What he has now done is, of course, you know what they want, Linda? Tons of mail-in ballots, right? But not just that, because now we can check to see if the ballots are legitimate ballots. You know what he now has authorized? You're allowed to fill out your ballots on your computer and print them out and send them in.
Well, yeah, there's going to be a lot of things, in my personal opinion, it's going to be done to steal the election or whichever. But in the meantime, this is what I talk about rising up, having a voice. Our sheriff in Riverside County,
Yes.
Sheriff Chad Bianco, just posted this on social media. And what it is, I'm showing here on my screen for those of you that are watching the YouTube. If you want to watch this recording from the radio on the actual video section, you can go to our website, c-fine.com, c-fine.com, and we will have this video posted. But what I'm showing here, for those of you that can't see, is this post by Sheriff Chad Bianco, and he states, "Public safety is the #1 function of government. If you have heard me speak, you have heard me explain how our current governor and majority of the legislature care more about criminals than law-abiding residents.
Yes.
You must vote yes in the recall. Many people are asking me who I am voting for. While there are a few good candidates in this recall election, my vote and support is for Larry Elder.
Yes.
I encourage you to look into him. I think you will agree. That is exactly what California needs right now."
It is, because Cox was the one that ran against Newsom in the last election, and so people, just so you understand, I like Travis Allen in the last elections, but if they're going to try to put Brian Cox up against Gavin Newsom, don't fall for it. Brian Cox is a very, very good friend of George Soros, so you guys need to do your research. So I agree, Larry Elders is the right one.
And we have to be rallying around one good candidate. Otherwise, we are going to diffuse our votes in multiple different directions, and we will lose it just by that fact alone, whereas nobody is running against Newsom. Think about that. Now, as we go on in this report, there was another report that I brought up here that you can see.
Wait, I want to bring something up. Let me get your opinion on something. Isn't this crazy? In California, we have this where you recall the governor because we're unhappy with his services, but then he has the right to turn around and run in the election. Does that make any sense to you?
Of course not. And I'm not surprised. What Newsom says is he warns Elder would be Trumpism into California if Newsom is recalled. So Newsom is saying, you go ahead and recall me and bring in Elder, we're going to bring in Trumpism. And he talks about how horrible that would be, and so on and so on. It's like, oh, give me a break. Go away. You've been recalled.
But that's how they attack these candidates. Recalled. You notice that? They try to link everything to Trump. Well, you won't like that candidate. He's a friend of Trump's or an ally of Trump. But here's my thing. Haven't they figured this out yet? The reason why these candidates are winning is because of their association with Trump. If Trump goes out there and says, I like this candidate, they 99.9% of the time, they win.
Well, that's true. One other thing you should be aware, Gavin Newsom just put out that California Governor Newsom welcomes Afghan refugees. We are a state of refuge. So he's going to open up the borders to all these Afghan refugees.
Have you ever seen that video yet, Linda, of they had the people coming across the southern border, right? They're lined up against our fence, the border fence we have there, and there's a gate that's open. And they're just coming in one at a time, and the border agents are there just letting them walk in one at a time instead of all in a large group. So they kind of do a little processing. Nobody is stopping them. They're just letting them walk in. And the scary thing about that is this. You have what's going on over there in Afghanistan. How many terrorists have they reported catching trying to come in through the southern border? That's just the ones that they caught trying to sneak in. You know what I mean? So that, what about the ones we didn't catch? That's my concern.
Well, that's absolutely correct. And right now we're pretty close to the end of our hour. So I want to encourage everybody to, again, go to c-vine.com and sign up and become a member and receive a newsletter. Follow through with checking out Pimpy and all the fantastic things he has going on with gold and silver. And I would like to close with this small quote here that is actually from U.S. President Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. It's just a small quote from the entire thing. It was given November 19th, 1863, which says, that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. End quote. That was the last part of this. And all I can say is, people, hold the line.
I want to add just a little bit, Linda. For those of you that come over to Cvine, all of the functions, all the activities that are done because of the donations given to Cvine. And we really appreciate when you do that. When you go to the website, there is right there, if Linda could point to it, where it says Cvine donations page over there. Right there.
Yes.
People, if you don't mind just clicking on that, because every little bit helps. Please don't be shy. That's how we're able to go out and do what we're able to do. We appreciate all your help and contributions. Just a reminder, if you can, I know in these tough times it's a little tough, but if you can, don't be afraid to donate.
Thank you, Pimpy. We'll see you next week.
All right, you guys have a good one, and we're out.